Hi, hello,
Hi.
welcome everyone. Welcome to today's AMA. I am Justin J. Das, your host, and I am a partner growth manager at BNB Chain. Today, I'm very excited to introduce to you Eskil from Go Plus Security. Now, before we go into the nitty gritty of their project, perhaps we can take the next 1 to 2 minutes where, Eskil, if you'd be happy to share with our audience a little bit more about your background, what you do at Eskil, and what was your transition like? Like what did you do before that?
Uh, Before I working on the GoPlus security, actually, I also working on another startup project, which is IoT and Edge Cloud. Has been last 6, 7 years before. So this
Uh-huh.
is like my third startup project. So I'm the co-founder of the project, and
Hello. Yeah,
yes,
sorry, I think you
hello.
lagged out there a little bit.
Oh yeah, is that okay now?
Yes, yes, all perfectly fine now.
Right, right. So, yeah, okay, let me restart it. So this is Asko from Go Plus Security. I'm the co-founder of the project. And to make sure, like you hear I before, this is my third co-founded project. And before I had also working on the cloud industry, like the IoT and the edge cloud solutions. And Go Plus Security is an open permissionless user-driven security service platform, and we are providing the security API, which is purely for free to the developers and all different kind of project. We are also working on building on open security ecosystem for Web3. And at the same time, we all always keep on to try to find a better paradigm to make a better security solution for the whole Web3 security. So that's basically what we do. And so happy to be here, everybody.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for sharing a little more about that. Very, very experienced in the space, that's for sure then. And you know, first, if you don't mind, maybe we could do a very quick introduction of your product demo, maybe through showing us a little bit of the
Sure.
features and what the user journey kind of looks like.
Yes, absolutely. My pleasure to do that. Um, so everyone, I mean, look, what you're looking at now is just our main website. So you can just visit us from the gopluslabs.io. This is a front page, and the most important feature come to you at first is, as I had just mentioned, GoPlus Security Open Permission is user-driven security service platform. And in case there any internet congestion, I just open all this document in advance. And so if you go to this, this is actually firstly jumping into your eyes. It's security API doc. It's obviously for all different kind of developer project. And as I said, this is a totally permissionless and open. So you can just get this URL. This is HTTP API. If you know how to integrate it with that, you could just use it for free. And everything about how to use it and all this parameter have been defined here. But I want to show you more about the concrete example because for the Go Plus security, right now we are providing several feature data product, like the API one for the token security, malicious address, NFT security. We are also going to launch the new function like the contract security auto scanning tool and the real-time risk warning tool in Q3. And in the very near future, we will also open a security ecosystem with all different kind of the security partner in Web3 to providing a more uh, complicated and sophisticated and all dimension security service to all kind of user. So since limited time, I just want to show you one example with our token security API. As When you go to the website, you could click on the token security API, you go to the trail, and you could jump into the pages called the token security API, and you have been seeing here Currently, we are supporting 9 public chains, and it will soon be 10 chain because we are going to support Cronus by the end of this week. And so far, we have been detected 1.39 million token, which many of them have different type of the risky label, which means they probably not risky, but they have different kind of attention issue there. And in the main website, you could also find the demo. So you could click onto that, search on the token you want to detect, and we will automatically come back with the result. This is all the feature, blah, blah, blah. You could read by yourself. And most importantly, the main feature of our product is not just to use that service in our website. Instead, you could actually find a lot of use case, probably some of the big names, probably some of the that you had already been using that, like BitKeep as a wallet, Mask as the entrance for the Web3 world, especially SocialFi, or different kind of the data aggregator too, like a Coinbrain, AVE, and Swap and the cross-chain bridge like Lee Finance, O3 Swap, and also Launchpad as crypto gems. So I want to show you how does that work for our security data, because security data will maybe sound like a little bit abstract. But here you can see this is actually a demo site, which is just one token I randomly funded. And you can see all the detection atoms we have been done for the user, like from the contract security level, if this contract source code is verified, because on the crypto native crypto chain, we will defaultly set all the contract code should be open there. Like you could find it either in the user scan or BSC scan. And if there are any proxy, if there are any mint function, because this all could be the tricky thing behind the contract, and also like the owner address, if the owner address could take back the ownership or change the balance of the user who holding this token, and also on the transaction security, like we checking if this token is honeypot or not, and even if this token is not honeypot, but is there any hidden atom behind it could transfer this token to be a honeypot. Maybe they're not here right now, but they probably could transfer to that later. And you could also see all different type of partners. They are the one who integrated our security API, and the users they can access to our security data from their website and from their interface. For example, I just take an example of Lee Finance, which is a cross-chain. Let's just randomly search for any token you probably want to swap. And when you choose this token, you will be noticed there's one green badge on this token here, which is a green one. And you can see there's a saying, this is a safe token. And how did Lee Finance get this conclusion? Because there's two more link. If you click on this one, Verified Go Plus, it will automatically jump into the page I have been show you several seconds, 1 minute ago. So it's showing like the very similar all the results we have been detected, but the Lee Finance help user to get a conclusion to say, hey, this is safe token. So you can do swap with it. Be confident with it. And I could give you more cases like AVE DAX. They're different from the Lee Finance. They are more like a data platform to show you all different kind of data. So they have a ranking here with different tokens, with their price, with their changes, circular supply, and also here you see on the right they have a risky score. Again, just to check on any of them, maybe this one. If you click into this, you will see it's a very similar atom which you have been showing in our website, but been integrated in their own interface. And one more thing plus, like AVE also made a score assessment saying this is a risk assessment, say 55 percentage according on their algorithm. And on the right in the middle, they also showed all the risk we have been checked. Like the green badge is something totally okay, but the yellow badge probably something you need to be pay attention. And if there is a red atom, So you should be really careful because that means there probably some harmful mechanism behind, but you probably don't know by reading the code. But instead, those data aggregation tell you, and by doing that, protecting you to stop if you will do any harmful thing.
I see. Thank you for the very, very detailed walkthrough. So there are a couple of questions that I have around
Sure.
the security space in Web3. So a question and a follow-on question. So what is Web3 security in this space, and what in what direction is it going towards? So yeah, if you could kind of just walk us through that process.
Yeah, that is a very good question, actually. Because when you talk about Web3 security, actually, for a lot of people I have been talking with, the first thing coming to their mind, probably something like auditing service, auditing report. But actually, we think this is much more complicated than that because when a user, when you enter into the Web3, you probably first coming to some OTC or central exchange. But there are also many, famous scammed cases like in the central exchange, like from the Mr. Gold to several years ago, KuCoin, or like a BitMax, last year, or Bitmark in the beginning of this year. And also public chain probably also facing security problem like several weeks ago, like Optimism lost 20 million valued USDT due to their code leak. And also different dApps, they also probably coming to some problem like so far as we know, like a Poly Network, like a Rooney Chain, MonaX, and all different kind of things. And also another corner could be ignored by a lot of people is also the ordinary user because as I have been showing in the product, why we are doing that token security, because a lot of the user they had experience either by the honeypot token or the rag pool or some token with irresponsible project team. They just drop this token and they leave that token value to zero. So this is all different kind of the Web3 security issue we could thinking about when you're talking about that. So it's not only one point issue, it's actually a whole picture. It's mapping of that.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for sharing. And so the follow-on question is, in which direction is security going to go towards in Web3?
That's also a good question. I think this is security issue is heavily relied on the comprehensive development of Web3. Because right now, as I've been showing a little bit like the token security, and also we do the NFT security and the malicious address, and all this data, we call it fundamental data. Because I think even for now, the Web3 is still like in a very early stage. You could probably compare with like in late 90s internet. And since we are really have the face on Web3, we will seeing actually a lot of interesting project is like work harder, like to make some different experience and different paradigm to the ordinary user. So the security actually will also go along with that. There will be some very on-chain security problem. For example, like the MEV attack or like the token problem thing I have just shown you, like the honeypot. But actually, there are also some traditional Web2 security issue, like a phishing website, like all different kind of the tricky attack by like a thief to taking your private key, like take it from the clapping board. And I would say the Web3 security thing is actually Web2 security plus Web3 security. And second, very importantly, it is also a very dynamic process. This is not the end for the Web3 security situation for now, but it will be changed from time to time from different circle.
Yeah, definitely. So very, very common, as you mentioned, traditional Web2 methods of hacking users in the new Web3 space. So actually,
Yeah.
if you had to give some pointers, what are the typical security aspects where users tend to really overlook? For example, a lot of
Um,
Discord groups when we're looking at GameFi and NFTs. They click on
right.
phishing links because they're thinking how can it connect to my wallet address. So, what are the general pitfalls over here?
Uh, I want to put it into this way. I mean, we could imagine this is like the journey for the user, but this is like the dark journey. This is like the journey you probably will come across to different kind of risk. And what you said is right. Like in the beginning, I mean, the user first, like the freshman, you enter into the Web3, you must have started with somewhere, right? Is mostly maybe the OTC platform or maybe some central exchange like Binance, the main website. So like even from there, like your risky journey is already started because easily you need to pick up the really, I mean, big brand and the good exchange like a Binance, right? Or some others. And also when you firstly open your wallet, okay? So this is like your first step. You have your home, you have your DID, but you also should be careful with all different kind of like the thing we have mentioned, like the phishing. It could be phishing from the email or phishing from like the phishing website or like in the group that some people sending you something randomly. But do not open that. And also have a good internet security habit, like don't copy paste your private key. This is like a very fundamental thing, but there's still a lot of people doing that. And that was like directly recording to trying to steal your asset. And beside it, okay, thinking about, okay, you have your asset, you have your home, but you enter into Web3, exciting, right? You want to do something. You want to do different kind of the interaction. For example, a swap. So when you're doing a swap, you must have given some proof to some website, to from that. If you do that like for some main swap, like a pancake swap or like a beep swap, it should be okay. But there are also different kind of small swap, and that could also have some tricky scam behind. So be careful where you go because that could be somewhere. It could be something behind it. And then when you're trying to buy something after the interaction, like the token one, as I have shown you, you should be careful what kind of token you are buying, because there could be different, say, attracting point. You're probably getting to know this token from some random Twitter account or some random Reddit account or some random hello. It
Yeah, I think you lagged down
I
a little
was
bit. Sorry, you were saying.
yeah, I would yeah, I was saying like checking with the token, for example, with the one with our security API or with the partners who had already integrated our security API. So you will get some idea. So see if that token is safe or not. And similar for NFT, because for NFT, a little bit complicated right now is not only the token contract or the metadata, but also a lot of fake NFT because they are probably just sending a gift there. So you also need to make sure you are getting the right one, not the fake one. And then the next level is also when you're trying to do some interaction with some address, because the address is also like the only final DID there. But there are also many malicious address. There could be some black money or just some scammers address. So when you're doing any interaction with that, you should also be careful too. And in the end, and when you're doing something, you're like finally finding some interesting dApp you like, right? Like some DeFi one or some GameFi. But also make sure that project is qualified, which I mean, if their dApp smart contract is being audited, if their capability is okay. I mean, in case they have any, code leak, because if this project getting attacked, which means you asset also getting down. And we are seeing there could be more and more interaction, and behind it, there's more and more risk scenario for the ordinary user. So keep eyes open on that, and always do your own research before that. And also, so you can rely on some reliable security service like Go Plus Security. So that's what I suggested.
Definitely. Yeah. Always do your own research and be wary, especially when interacting with dApps and other third parties. Um, so
Sure.
we covered, yeah, you covered quite a lot about pitfalls and what people tend to overlook. And you know, naturally, the next question is, how can people in general um, add that additional layer of security on a daily basis, like you mentioned, Go Plus to you know protect their wallet address, protect their security. Can you give a little bit more details on this? Like for your product specifically, how does it do it?
Yeah, I think I had to show a little bit too much in detail in the in the very beginning by showing our website, but that's just the case I want to show because I'm not just showing GoPlus what GoPlus is doing. Is actually what GoPlus is doing is also rely on the cooperation with our partners. For example, the one I had already mentioned, like the AVE DEX, Coinbrain, O3, and BitKeep, and also there are some other wallet is integrating our security API like Token Pocket, I'm Token, Opera, Brother. There's a lot of the big entities doing that. So what they're doing with us, they are just trying to be responsible for their own user. So they are integrating our security API. So once they have that, there will be more protection. And that was like the pre-active protection because we all think once a user or project, once you getting attacked, once your asset was lost, then that will be really, really hard to get your money back. So it's like you get robbed and you want to go to the police office and you want to say, I want to get it back. I mean, you probably could do that, but it's complicated. And even in Map 3, you don't know who is the police office. So the basic philosophy in Go Plus security is we trying to preventing the loss before you doing this risk interaction or be aware of that. So by doing that, we provided this API and in the middle term and long run, you will also see a lot of more customized security service like a real-time risk warning, which means you probably will get a real-time alert once anything happened to your asset or to your wallet. And even some front-run service saying you subscribe on that, you could front-run your asset once even you get attacked, but you could transfer your asset before the attacker. So there will be a lot of interesting and exciting service providing to the user step by step there.
Awesome. Yeah, that's very in depth. And you know, naturally, the following question that'll come is, security is a space that has been growing rapidly ever since I think last year. And
Yeah.
on top of that, what would you say is kind of your defining differentiation in your competitive landscape?
Right. Actually, we are quite exciting to see, like, particularly in the last 1 2 years, they are coming with a lot more and more security solutions. And but the thing is, back to the question in the beginning, when you're talking about security in Web3, what does that mean? Because people probably have different understanding. Because some solution, like auditing service, what they do, I mean, that's very important and it's a very essential service. But what the auditing service is just to doing the auditing check on the code of some of the project team who had paid the auditing service. And that was like for once. Because the thing is, all the project team, they are keep updating with their service. And at the same time, there are a lot of the need from ordinary user or from the project team who couldn't really get to the security service like on time. So what we are doing different from like auditing thing or some other cookies, we're trying to firstly providing a more comprehensive security detection. That's why we call it fundamental data, like what we have been doing on the token, NFT, and malicious address, because we think this is like the fundamental infrastructure will be needed for everyone. This is like the public goods. We are trying to provide it to all the crypto user and also for the different project team. And beyond that, we are not eager to say we just making some solution or tools to just eager to earn some quick money. But instead, we are trying to reshape the paradigm of the security ecosystem. And by doing that, we also providing this data to the security participator, to like the white hat or some third party security service provider. So they can also subscribe our data, and we together could working on some long tail security service to the user. So what GoPlus trying to do is not just a end-to-end solution. It's actually an infrastructure to the Web3. And by doing that, we trying to reshape the boundary of the security in Web3 to make sure everybody will be more confident when they are doing different kind of the trying different kind of dApp in this whole ecosystem. So making sure that we think that will be a sustainable future for the Web3 there. So that's all about it.
Definitely. Thanks for sharing. And I was actually a little bit more curious on, because as new dApps emerge, as new social projects emerge, what is
Mhm.
your view on, how your roadmap is going to look like 1 year down the line? Like, is it especially in this crypto bear market where a lot of projects will really need to reevaluate their strategy, reevaluate the value that they're driving. Where are some key identifiers, on a high level, where you expect your product to develop?
I think if you say like what is a good thing for the bear market is you could see a lot of the project team. I wouldn't say they're not good, but they're probably just too eager to make money. Is like pulling out of the market. They're leaving the market. So the people who left here is mostly the people like who have the long-term view on the whole industry and really building on the infrastructure, which in my point of view is actually something more needed in this whole ecosystem in the long run. So I think as as a security project, because we are working as a security infrastructure in the starting point. So firstly, I think there's still a lot of gap we need to fill in crypto security, like by building up the fundamental public goods and to expand that to different partners. This is like the first thing we need to do. And secondly, as I mentioned, we are really eager to find more partner working together with us because our vision is not just to become another security company. Instead, we want to organize a more decentralized security ecosystem by participating by more people. Because I think only by that way we could solve the Web3 security problem in the Web3 way. Because it doesn't make sense to make another censorship in security point of view, right? It will be imagine there's some super giant company decided which is secure, which is not. It's a little bit crazy, right? So I think that is a very fundamental thing, and there's a lot of things from the fundamental, from technology point of view. Even sometimes we think from the very how to say philosophy or fundamental infrastructure, like from the system layer, like the public chain. If we could really rebuild something to overcome the limitation right now existing, for example, in Ethereum or BNB Chain, is there something we could improve? Maybe like a shift of new paradigm. This is all like the things we are trying to solve. And luckily, like in the bear market, we have probably have more time to building on the things. And when the next circle coming, I think we will be more ready to provide a better service and together with the new trend of the Web3 development.
Yes, 100% agree. So to add a little bit more on a key point that you mentioned, which I thought was interesting and worth looking deeper into, decentralized security in Web3, where you don't
Mm.
have certain entities determining what is secure and what isn't. So in on a high level, um, what would you say, or how would you describe would be the perfect, well, ideal security environment in Web3 for users, where they don't have to deal with a lot of the pitfalls, where security is a lot more accessible and easy to understand, just a very high level.
Yeah, that's a very good question. And I think Hello, I'm back.
Yeah,
Is
hey.
that okay?
Yeah, all
Sorry for the
good, all
internet
good.
connection. Okay, cool.
That's fine.
Uh, yeah, I was a little bit interrupted. So, what I want to say, yes, so from this very, it's still like a very fundamental point of view, okay? Because we are still talking about security, right? So I think the very uh, basic philosophy about security is not like you are going to have a super dApp, a application to solve everything, because I don't think that could be a way to achieve even in the traditional internet security market. So the model, if we say this is like the minimum model for security, we always see there are some attacker and there are some defender there, right? And currently, you see a lot of scam, a lot of hacker attack, a lot of big project that getting schooled. Means that there's so many attacker, and the attacker's power is so strong, but instead the defender's power is so weak. That's the thing. So that seems like the balance was a little bit of a there's has a huge problem on the balance. So what we're trying to do, we're trying to rebalance it. So how we do that? So first, I think still, I mean, back to the question. First, we need to define on what kind of risk we have in Web3, because you cannot only focusing on the thing you can make money. That's the first thing, because you need to detect it, the thing like which is actually potentially lead to the bigger problem, but probably not being seen as a big news, but is actually happen every day. For example, the user security problem, and that's exactly what we see. This is very fundamental, but it didn't been take care so good. And secondly, you have to have a more dynamic and quick response service. That's also our inspiration to make this a token security API, because this is open permissions. Everybody could access that, and all the data is like driven by user. As long as there's more user use it, we're getting bigger data. So we have this bigger defend network. So all the user who use our security service is not only a user, it's actually a security information provider to us. So everybody, we really welcome everybody to use it. And third, in the long run, I think very importantly, we need to attract more people and providing there with a really strong incentive to let them to be the defender instead of to be the attacker. Because to be attacker, you just just sacrifice others' will to for your own. But that's immoral, and I don't think that will be lasting for a long term, because that will be in the worst scenario that will kill the industry, that will kill the whole thing. So you have to really create an incentive for them. So that's probably in the next stage will be the main thing for us to thinking about the token economy, about the whole ecosystem, how we built it. And very importantly, we don't want to create another purely censorship. We also need to have some balance between it, because right now we are still the most important provider for security data. Because even we have a very good idea to decentralize that, but you still need to have something first before you started to build the DAO, the government, everything. Unless, I mean, because the security thing is a it's sorry to say, but it still have some bar there. You have to understand the whole thing to participate on that. So what we are trying to do now is just to build the very early stage of this whole thing. But I think still we are in a very early stage. We grow very fast, but we are still like really humble to that. So our wish is just to getting more people united and working on this data, and all the people who have consensus. And so together we think we will contribute to make a really good paradigm to protect the whole Web3 security. And that's, I think, is very essential for the long run for Web3.
That's definitely true. One thing I really liked about what you mentioned was incentivizing defending these protocols. I don't know which company it was, but I think Certic, the smart contract
Yeah,
auditor, as well
right.
as various, they have these this hunting mechanism where users will try to
Mhm.
identify bugs in certain smart contracts and they're rewarded for it. But it
Yeah,
definitely would be interesting to utilize this a lot more frequently in certain DAOs. Definitely, it would be a very big breakthrough, especially in substantially large projects where a lot of people are affected if there is a failure in the code or there's an exploitation, not necessarily a hack. But yeah, highly agree. So we're running short on time. I would like to take this chance to see if our viewers have any comments. Let me quickly take a look.
Yep.
So I'm currently looking through the YouTube comments as well. Seems there is no further questions. Well then, I think at this point we can wrap it up. So once again, thank you for joining us here, Eskil. Go Plus Security is something that is up and coming. It's very exciting, and definitely looking forward to your roadmap and how you play a more central, decentral part in, in Web3. Please feel free to follow them on Twitter and keep up to date, and protect yourself, protect your wallet and your digital identity. Thank you so
All the
much.
pleasure is on us. Thank you so much, Justin. Thank you for inviting us.